3,000 naira for. And that money, for you to know, it's not even coming back to government. Just in case you want to know, that money doesn't come back to government. What does it do? That same money is the administrators use it to take care of the centers. They use it to provide you with the real things. So the government is not here to run you ragged. The government is here to actually make sure you attain a level of stability and be able to take care of yourself even with your own skill.
Right, self-dependence is very necessary.
Yeah.
How can I pay this 10,000 naira if I'm interested? Where do I go to pay this 10,000 naira?
So you pay it right now. Right now, you pay it in the centers.
Where are the centers?
They are different. That's different. We have like 15 centers around in Delta State, and part of it. So what will happen is we will put it online. We'll put it on your system too, so that you will actually know the centers. We'll send it to you. You are going to look at it. You know the centers that is close by to you, and then you go there and you go pay.
Maybe we're talking digital all the while. So how do I access digitally?
So digitally, the reason why I've not called out anything yet is because it's a process that we are about to start.
Okay.
We are about to start. So a memo, or we will send out information as soon as our sites are up and everything has been put in place. But we want to make sure we are shifting from analog to digital, and we want to make sure we do it as fast as before the next stream starts.
Okay. Looking ahead, what are the board's priorities and goals for advancing technical and vocational education in Delta State?
Priorities and goals.
Yes.
Our priority is to make sure we have strong and able-bodied youths, men that can take care of themselves, men that can make sure that if you go out there, employers of labor. That is the priority. What is the priority? Our priority is to be included in what makes Delta State and Nigeria more stable in terms of value. Our priority is to also make sure we are more producers than consumers.
All right. We want you to say some words to people who might be interested in joining. Say some words to Deltans, just words that generally can express your thoughts and emotions about TVERB and the current government of Honorable Francis Sheriff Obodewori.
I would like you to please support this government. I would like you to shun the naysayers. I would like you to remove politics from everything you do. This is a game of life. This is a race of life. You have voted in the man to do the job. And while he's doing the job, I crave your support. We crave your support. And we want to assure you that there is nothing we do that is not born out of concern for our fellow Deltans. TVERB is there to make sure we provide the best in terms of skill sets to the masses, to the public. We're there to make sure you are being taught well on how to enhance your skill. I want you to reach out to us. We are at the Secretariat, the Felix Ibro Annex. You can reach out to us. As I said, my name is Eremilo Stanley. You can feel free, our doors are open. We also have administrators in Asaba, we have in Sapele, we have in Owerukwe, we have in Ozanogogo, we have 15 centers. So I want you to reach out and do your own due diligence, research on us, and know that what we are saying is not just mouth. What we are saying is actually what we do. This is a talk and do government. This no be talk, no do. Okay? So I want you to reach out to us and know that TVERB is here to stay. TVERB is here to make sure that your skills are better. TVERB is here to interface between you and other agencies to bring you to a level of stability and make sure you are able to take care of yourself and your community at large.
Thank you so much, Stanley Iremulo. This has been a very wonderful conversation, and I wish you all the best because this matters to me. My children are involved here.
Yes, sir.
If we have more employers of labor, then we can indeed throw away the whole 33% unemployment rate in Nigeria and then get better for ourselves and even for our state.
That's right.
Thank you so much. All the best.
Thank you so much.
All the best.
Thank you
so much.
It's a pleasure.
Now, let's get things working in Delta State. Let's also get things working as far as safety is concerned. When we come back, we shall look at safety, and we shall talk about saving us from sexual exploiters. But that's if you stay tuned with us on Morning Ride. All right, you're right here on Morning Ride. We are the People's Prize. That's what they call us on Delta Television. Now, this moment, we are about to talk about something that happens to many people, and then just a few people talk about it afterwards. It's about sexual exploitation. Matter of fact, people really go through that and pretend to still be okay. But this morning we have a gentleman and lady, men from the Nigerian Red Cross Society, Delta State. I call them men. Did I say people
You are
from
correct.
Nigerian
You are
Red Cross Society,
You
Delta
are
State?
very correct.
Or are you all referred to as men?
No, men and women.
Men and women. Okay, so I was wrong. Men and women. A man and a woman from Nigerian Red Cross Society, Delta State. It's good to have you. Trainer Ore Ehikoya Felix. You are the Disaster Management Coordinator, Delta State. I think I murdered your surname again. Because you gave me that look.
All right.
Ore.
Yeah.
Okay, good to have you right here. And then Orakwe Stella, focal person. But I want to say that this is her turf precisely because she's a focal person, protection against sexual exploitation and
Protection and prevention against sexual exploitation and abuse.
oh,
Yes. and
she's a focal
violence.
person for that.
Yes.
And she's right here with us. And that is our conversation. Protection against introductions are in order. Let's get straight to business. Our conversation this morning is protection against sexual exploitation and abuse. So, it's good to have you this morning. Turner Ore Felix, good to have you.
It's good to be here once again, and good morning, Deltans.
And our focal person who is very much in charge of this turf, the lady herself, Orakwe Stella, good to have you.
Thank you. Good morning, Deltans.
Okay.
Good morning.
You know, when I was doing my introduction earlier on, I said many people suffer sexual exploitation, but just a few people talk about it. I want the lady to explain fully whether I was wrong or right in that assertion, or indeed the way forward if that my assertion was true.
Yes, you are right. It's not sexual exploitation and abuse is not a topic that a lot of people are very comfortable talking about, majorly due to the stigma that comes with it, the exclusion and the discrimination within our society today. So it's a very sensitive topic. So you have a whole lot of people, rather than making reports when necessary, they tend to keep these things within
The
themselves.
family.
Sometimes even when they want to even make the complaints, they could be hushed into keeping quiet by their family members or community members as to, oh, this could negatively affect your reputation. So yes, you find a lot of people keeping quiet about
Okay.
this.
What are some common signs or indicators of sexual abuse and exploitation that people should be aware of?
Okay, yes. There are signs to look out for. For adults, there are signs to look out for children. So let me address that of adults. Most commonly, you can see something like withdrawal, especially from a particular person. You know, you see certain people don't like to be around a particular person at every turn. Sometimes you can even see some aggressive behavior being directed towards a certain person. They usually have like mood swings. Sometimes you can even see some physical signs of it. You could see bleeding, you can see bruises, unexplained bruises, you know. And there are certain cases where you can, a person who otherwise was not financially stable, you begin to see an unexplained stream of income. That's also very common.
Oh,
Yes.
Because they're being paid to be
Yes, to be
quiet.
quiet,
quiet.
you know,
Okay.
depending on what sort of sexual acts. But when you say sexual exploitation and abuse, they both have their various definition. You have sexual abuse, you have sexual exploitation, you have sexual harassment.
Okay. Can you
I wa-
explain
yeah.
the difference?
Now, when we look at sexual exploitation, you're looking at, for instance, or a job before sex before job.
Okay.
People are looking for job, and then you want to take advantage of them before giving them the job. People study in school to get good grades in their exams, and then you say before.
Okay, we're trying to differentiate between sexual abuse, sexual harassment, and sexual exploitation. So go ahead, Arthur.
Now, when you now look at exploitation, we are looking at sex in return for humanitarian service, for grade, for job, just name it, and then these are channeled towards sex for this sex for what have you is what we call sexual exploitation or for humanitarian assistance. So you see this one's a exploitation. You're trying to exploit the person either because the person is vulnerable, the person is ignorant, or all that. And then when you look at sexual abuses, this falls within all genders anyway. It falls within all genders. So you see violence, violence against women or men or children. These are abuses where you see people carrying out pedophilia act, having sexual knowledge of minors. These are abuses. And then you know that even a married woman can be raped in her own home by her own husband, because sexual abuse here talks about anything that does not come, any sexual relationship or intercourse or what have you that does not come with consent. Once consent is withdrawn, the person may even agree initially. You may start it initially and the person says stop. Once consent is withdrawn, and you fail to end it at that point, it becomes an abuse. And then when we look at harassment, harassment may be directly, may be indirectly.
Explain, please.
Sometimes you see people, colleagues, using words that are not sexually polite on people that are sexually irritating on the opposite sex. For instance, you see somebody just coming to you and then either touching you directly or using words, and then the person you are using these words or you are touching in this particular unfriendly manner does not really want it. It becomes an harassment. So you now see that this three line exploitation talks about sex in return for whatever you are giving, in favor for whatever you are giving. Abuse talks about either implicit pain, violence on the person, and then harassment talks about either having direct contact or using verbal words that are not accepted by the victim.
Okay. Let's look at, because we have little time left for us, and this is a very, very broad topic. But let's look at how we can stop this act from being prevalent in society. Go ahead, Stella.
So, everything they say prevention is key in everything that we do. So trying to curb this particular thing, it happens at every level. It happens from the household, community level, within work environments. It's very essential. Let's say, for example, the household, for instance. It is very important that parents or guardians are able to establish a very good relationship with their kids. Because when we talk about sexual exploitation and abuse, there's something called underreporting, where, like we said, people keep it to themselves. You see it very common in children when they are abused outside or harassed by, mostly it is usually people they trust that do this
Within the family
within the
structure.
family, you see. And they are actually threatened to keep quiet. Now, if a parent is able to have a good relationship with their child, establish that trust, it makes it easy for their children to be able to communicate
With them, flow with them. They see
then,
that trust.
Exactly. Then it's also very important for parents. It's unfortunate that this is the reality we live in, that you begin to educate a child on what to look out for, what is appropriate behavior or not appropriate behavior for adults or persons your age. It is the reality we live in. It should not be so, but it is. So it's also important that at a very young age, you begin to explain to your child what is appropriate behavior for this uncle, for this auntie.
When you say at a very young age, what age precisely? This argument has been on for decades. What age did I start telling my son or daughter about?
I would say, as long as your child is able to communicate,
To speak. Once that child is able to communicate in words, that child should be able to know her private part.
Or his private part.
Or his or her private part, or when, where, and where should be touched by anybody, how to sit publicly, how an uncle is supposed to relate with him or her, how an auntie is supposed to relate with him or her. So by the time they know this, that uncle will not just come and carry a 10 years old girl or a girl who is just going through puberty ages or what have you. You just grab her and then harassing her, because most times you find out that the victims are unconscious of what is happening. The victims are unconscious of what is happening. So at this point, we were like Stella rightly said, we'll try as much as we can to ensure that we make the home a safe place where children at home will be able to communicate. At workplace, there should be code of conduct. There should be code of conduct for employees, for visitors, so that people know when sexual harassment, abuse, or exploitation is taking place. Most especially at the point of employing new or bringing in new employees. People should be able to detect it, and then there should be somebody that is responsible enough for us to communicate with. At the community level, community leaders must see it that the future of the community lies within the birth of the young ones. So when a child of 18 is already having 3 kids, that future is almost gone. So we must continue to sensitize people, carry out sensitization at the community level, both at the faith-based organization.
Okay.
People must be sensitized.
Stella,
Just
quickly.
to
Okay.
add, when we're talking about sexual abuse, we mentioned consent being key. Please understand that a child or children cannot give consent.
That is for adults.
So
We're
even
talking
if the child
18
says
years.
yes,
No.
it's
No,
still-
it's no.
Yeah.
A child cannot give you consent.
Who is a child? What
We're
are the
talking
age range?
18 years below.
Okay.
Cannot give you consent.
Okay, how does your organization collaborate with law enforcement agencies to handle cases of sexual abuse and exploitation?
Yes, the Red Cross, our major goal is to provide assistance to vulnerable people. And yes, we do have partnership with relevant organizations to respond to sexual exploitation and abuse cases. Within our society, our programs are designed and delivered in such a way that ensures that everybody is safeguarded. So when we have reporting channels that before we go into any community, we'll make sure that our personnel are properly trained on sexual exploitation and abuse. Sensitize the community, or that if our staff behaves in this way, in such way, these are places where you can make your complaints to. And when we pick up the complaints and it's directed to the appropriate person, we respond actively. We partner with organizations because there are certain services we might not be able to provide. So it is our job to refer to the qualified organizations that can provide these services, because these things are always planned in advance, referral pathways, to ensure that we are able to provide assistance and support to survivors of sexual exploitation and abuse.
Okay, I'll take that as a roundoff. How about you, Trainer Ore?
In addition to her, we also do what we call sensitization. We do counseling. This counseling now gives room for behavioral change. And then the law enforcement agency, they take their appropriate part. We just want people to be conscious of the fact that sexual exploitation, harassment, and abuse is ongoing as we speak. Parents, guardians, what should be vigilant.
Okay.
The future of our children is within our hands.
All right, thank you so much. Blessing, we're saying goodbye already this morning.
Yes, thank you so much for joining us this
Thank
Friday
you for
morning.
joining us.
As people, as communities, let's put our hands together to fight sexual abuse and exploitation. Thank you so much for tuning in and joining us on Morning Ride. Have a wonderful weekend.
Have a wonderful weekend. Good morning and goodbye. My name is Francis Ofube. Thank you for being part of Morning Ride.
Morning, and here's the 10 news. I am Henry Usiayo. Governor Sheriff Oborewori has approved the appointment of Mrs. Rosemary Amioko and Ikechukwu Madumize Esquire as chairman and member of the State Civil Service Commission. The governor has also approved the appointment of Mr. Ubaka Ikena as Auditor General, Local Government. The appointees are currently being sworn in at the Unity Hall, Government House, Asaba. According to a statement by the Secretary to the State Government, Dr. Kingsley Emu, the Governor has also approved the reconstitution of the Governing Council of the Delta State Polytechnic, Ogwashiku. The board will be headed by Paul Adingupu as chairman, while the members are Chukuma Oseyeni, Esquire, Senior at the board, Mrs. O.J. Patricia, and Professor Mary Edema. The appointees are also currently being inaugurated at the Unity Hall, Government House, Asaba. Also being sworn in are members of the Governing Council of some tertiary institutions and boards, agencies in the state, as earlier announced. They comprise State University, Abraka, the Delta State Polytechnic, Otefe, Owara, the Delta State Polytechnic, Burutu, the College of Physical Education, Mosoga, and the Delta State Micro, Small, and Medium Enterprises Development Agency. Others are Delta State Investment and Development Agency, the Delta Trust Mortgage Bank Limited, and the VIDC Securities Limited. Governor Sheriff Oborevwori has said his administration was ready to partner with the African Development Bank, AFDB, in its determination to expand the frontiers of agricultural productivity in the state. Governor Oborevwori disclosed this while playing host to the officials of the African Development Bank and the Federal Ministry of Agriculture, led by the Chief Agro-Industrial Economist, Dr. Chuma Ezedima, at the Government House, Asaba. He noted that the state was one of the states with the largest arable land in the country, adding that crops ranging from cassava, maize, yam, rice, assorted vegetables, and even rubber are cultivated and grown in commercial quantity in the state. According to him, some residents of the state are also into aquaculture as a result of the closeness of the state to the coastal line. The governor stated that Delta truly deserved a special agro-processing zone because of the enormous agricultural potentials of the state. He said the establishment of the special agro-processing zone was something that the state desired and appreciated their desire to come into the state, promising to partner with them. The leader of the team, Dr. Chuma Ezedima, said they were in the state in preparation of the second phase of the Special Agro-Industrial Processing Zone program, adding that the first phase of the program was already running. Dr. Ezedima disclosed that the AFDB was looking forward to building an additional program with a second phase, pointing out that the bank was currently conducting a preparation mission for the establishment of the Special Agricultural Processing Program, the second phase in Nigeria. He said Nigeria had already obtained a loan of about $520 million for the first phase of the program, stressing that it was for this reason that a team from the national office of the program was in the States. The wife of the state governor and founder of the UMATA Charity Foundation, Deaconess Tobore Oborevwori, has called on all stakeholders, including mothers, teachers, and other caregivers, to up their game and join hands in the fight against drug abuse in the states. Deaconess Oborevwori made the call when she received a delegation of the National Drug Law Enforcement Agency, NDLEA, at the Government House, Asaba. Florence Oyibodoro has details.
Deaconess Tobore Oborevwori appreciated the efforts of the National Drug Law Enforcement Agency, NDLEA, in the state, adding that drug abuse had posed a big challenge to the society. The governor's wife decried the ugly trend, especially among women and youths, describing it as a silent killer. While calling on stakeholders to join in the campaign against drug abuse, the governor's wife promised to provide for the well-being of rescued drug addicts in the state.
The body relies on us, the mothers, to look out for our children because it's affecting life. I'm not just campaigning, creating awareness for only children with special need, autism, no. I'm advocating for children out of school, single parents, and drug abuse.
The leader of the delegation and commander of narcotics in the state, Mr. Abubakar Wada, said the aim of the visit was to brief the governor's wife on the activities of the agency with a view to partnering with her pet project, the UMAT Charity Foundation. Mr. Wada, a lawyer, explained that the agency had been collaborating with various bodies, including heads of schools and youth bodies, as they engaged in publicity in the media, organized enlightenment programs, and engaged in dialogue to curb the menace.
The committee has succeeded in launching wider clubs, war against drug abuse clubs in all the secondary schools across the 3 senatorial districts. And equally, campaigns were organized in motor parks and markets.
The visitors later instituted the governor's wife as an ambassador of the NDLA in the state. Dickness Obrewori also played host to the International Fellowship Gospel Ministers' Wives and Female Ministers, where she commended the women for standing in the gap for Delta State in prayers and urged them to keep up their good work. While suing for more support for the present administration, Dickness Obrewori expressed optimism that Delta State will surmount all challenges with the help of God.
We believe God is there for all these things. People can see the handwriting. People can see what is going on. In midst of it, we are marching forward. God has been there for us, and He's still there, and He will do mightily for us in Jesus' name.
Earlier, the leader of the delegation, Reverend Victoria Oko, said the International Fellowship of Gospel Ministers' Wives was a non-denominational body committed to nurturing pastors' wives to stand for their families and the ministry. Reverend Oko pledged the group's readiness to collaborate with the Humanity Charity Foundation to impact more lives.
I believe we have something in common, and in the process of time, we shall work closely with each other. The work we are doing is a kingdom project, and the blessing of God will steadily rest on it.
Florence Oyibodoro reporting.
The State People's Democratic Party, PDP, has released its timetable for the July 13 council elections. The chairman of the state PDP, Honorable Kingsley Isiso, while briefing newsmen at the party secretariat in Asaba, said sales of forms for aspirants will take place from Friday, May 10 through Wednesday and May 15. He said aspirants are to submit their completed forms from Thursday the 16th to Saturday the 18th of May, while screening of aspirants will take place from Saturday the 18th through Monday the 20th, adding that the party would entertain appeals arising from the screening on Tuesday, May 21st, while ward congresses to elect councillorship candidates and 3 ad hoc delegates will hold on May 24. According to the timetable, primaries for the party's aspirants for chairmanship position and appeals arising from the ward congresses is scheduled for May 25th, while May 26th is for the party run-off primaries and consideration of appeals from the chairmanship primaries. The state PDP chairman expressed confidence that the party would emerge victorious in all the local government elections.
Candidates and 3 ad hoc delegates for all the wards in the state. Our councillorship candidates will emerge through primaries, credible primaries, in a congress in the various wards in the state on the 24th, Friday the 24th of May 2024. That same day, on the 25th day of May 2024, we are going to organize local government congresses specifically to elect our chairmanship candidates for the 25 local governments in the state.
The State Commissioner of Police, Mr. Olufemi Abaniwanda, has said his officers and men will continue to confront security breaches, respond swiftly to distress calls, and protect lives and property in the state. He gave the assurance while speaking as guest on the Voice of Delta Public Enlightenment Program, Orientation Panorama, noting that Delta remains one of the safest states in Nigeria, while commending Governor Sheriff Oborewori for assisting the command in enhancing its operations. The CP was represented by the command's police public relations officer, SP Bright Edafe, disclosed that under his watch, some kidnapped victims in the state were rescued, adding that during one of such strategic operations, one AK-47 rifle was recorded from a suspected kidnapper, while some reasonable sum of money was also recovered, which was apparently proceeds of ransom. On the reported series of kidnapping in Nikaland and the killing of a prominent vigilante, the Commissioner of Police acknowledged that there were reports of kidnapping in some communities, pointing out that his officers and men were already working with stakeholders and some vigilante groups to restore peace to towns and villages affected by security breaches. He assured the people that the state command will continue to work around the clock to secure lives and property in the state, which he said was the primary responsibility of the government and the police. CP Abaniwanda appealed to the public to always report suspicious movements and any threat to public peace to enable law enforcement agents intervene and deal with such cases. He, however, pointed out that some persons, whom he described as professional alarmists, deliberately spread false information about the security situation in the state as a form of mischief, decrying the act which he said was unacceptable. Reiterating that Delta State was secure and peaceful, the police commissioner said the police was on top of reported security breaches and would continue to do the needful to ensure that Deltans slept with their eyes firmly closed. A bill seeking an amendment to the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, 1999, to make the Court of Appeal the final court for the hearing and determination of petitions on governorship, National Assembly, and State of Assembly elections has passed the first reading in the House of Representatives. The bill, sponsored by the member representing the Ndokwa-Ukwane Federal Constituency, Honorable Nnamdi Ezechi, aims to streamline the appeal process for the aforementioned elections by designating the Court of Appeal as the final appellate authority.
Expatiating on the amendment of the bill, Honorable Ezechi said the initiative was driven by the intention to mitigate delays and save costs in post-election litigations. Also, at plenary yesterday, the House received a petition for disobedience to court orders by the Nigerian Navy and the Central Bank of Nigeria with respect to one Mr. Isaac Okpanachi, who was wrongfully dismissed from service but had a court judgment in his favor. The petition, which was presented by Honorable Nnamdi Ezechi on behalf of Mr. Okpanachi, a former lieutenant commander in the Navy, highlighted the Navy and the Central Bank of Nigeria's disregard for the court order to reinstate him and urged his compliance. Honorable Ezechi also, among other matters, presented another petition by Oko, Abuato, Akare-Ekiti and Akarobodo communities in Ndokwa East local government area over discrepancies on the part of the Nigerian Petroleum Upstream Regulators and the Oil Minery Lease OML 26 Settler Assets Management Team in the OML 26 Settlement and Trustees appointment.
Mr. Speaker, before me here is a petition from Soinde Sonaki and Associates, signed by Chief Alex Aya, the CDC chairman of Oko, in Ndokwa East local government area, Chief Richard Obi, Abuato CDC chairman, Mr. Emeka Onyema, Akara Obodo President General, and Chief J.O. Agbanasi, Akara Etiti community leader, against Nigerian Petroleum Upstream Regulators and OML 26 Settler Asset Management Team against them. Second petition is against disobedience to court order by Nigerian Navy and Central Bank of Nigeria, an outcry for urgent intervention to end the age-long impunity against Mr. Isaac Okpanachi. Mr. Speaker, with the leave of the House, oblige me the privilege to lay this petition.
Upon receiving the petitions, the Speaker, Honorable Tajuddin Abbas, referred them to the House Committee on Public Petitions for further examination and appropriate action.
The House of Representatives has directed the Central Bank of Nigeria, CBN, to hold the implementation of the Cybercrime Levy in compliance with the provisions of the Cybercrime Act. This followed the adoption of a motion of urgent public importance moved by the minority leader, Honorable Kingsley Chinda of the PDP, Rivers State. Honorable Chinda said Section 44 of the Cybercrime Act listed those to pay the stipulated fees as GSM and telecom companies, internet providers, banks, and other financial institutions, as well as insurance companies and stock exchange. The lawmaker explained that the circular from the CBN had raised apprehension across Nigeria, stressing that it had given the impression that the levy was to be paid by Nigerians in an era when they were still battling with an increase in the price of petroleum products, among other hardships. The House subsequently asked the APS Bank to withdraw its earlier circular on implementing the levy immediately and issue another circular in line with the provisions of the Act. It will be recalled that the Trade Union Congress, TUC, had threatened a massive protest that was projected to shut down the economy should the federal government fail to revise the controversial bill. He said it was illogical that the development was coming at a time Nigerians were grappling with the high cost of living imposed by the devaluation of Naira, hyper hike in the cost of petrol, and supersonic increment in the cost of electricity tariff, among other factors. The Labour leader called on the federal government to give a marching order to the Central Bank of Nigeria to immediately withdraw the circular and cancel the planned levy forthwith, or face a protest that will culminate in the total shutdown of the economy. The federal government has said it is committed to creating over 80 million jobs for Nigerian citizens through steel industry and others through the proposed reforms by President Bola Tinubu. He said the move by the federal government to revive Ajaokuta Steel Company was sacrificing production, citing the prominent contributions of the company KAM to the sector.